All right, you should be able to hear me now. I don't know what happened there, but I just looked down and saw there were two things muted, the computer and the program. All right, thank you. Well, I guess we should leave YouTubing to the professionals. How embarrassed can I get today on a scale of 1 to 10? All right, we're going to start over for the second start over because I'm going to say it right. Welcome to Mellow Nomadic Adventures, Marshall. Thank you for coming. I appreciate the videos you're doing. And I am a member of Marshall's YouTube channel. If one of my moderators would drop his link, please. And I appreciate you, Marshall. Roy and Becky, thank you for the raid. And I hope you're not regretting that you raided me now.
The birds are quiet as a mouse now.
Oh, I moved my production to my bedroom, okay? Because the birds were chattering like crazy. My son just came and told me the birds are quiet. They're totally quiet. I even showed off I did a frothy coffee this morning. I think you can see it. It helps. That can tell you I haven't really had any coffee today. Oh, and so please check out also Camping Therapy. If someone could drop her link, and I don't know if I have any. Kaylee is not here today. She's not feeling well, and so she is not here. So if there's anybody, let me see who I've got as moderators. Boondocking with Boomer is here. Wow, Lance, what an honor for you to be here today. I haven't had you in a while. Char of Heart. So if you're a moderator and you could drop Camping Therapy's link, I would really appreciate it. Anybody going over to check out her channel, she's got some great stuff going on. Where are we staying? Thank you, and I'll be right. We've got somebody in the basement, and I'm going to get right to you, Alberta, in just a moment, sweetheart. All right, so Nosh, thank you for coming. Hitch up and toe. This chat jumped on me. All right. I want to have as much time. James Cantonese, thank you. And he just did a meetup with Blue Wave Odyssey. And if somebody could drop that meetup link for people to go watch, I would appreciate it. Because you know what? First of all, I love James Cantonese. You are you're a model for me as someone who has pain. So I watch your videos and I think, quit whining, Lucretia. You know, quit whining. All right. So you are I'd like to be James Cantonese when I grow up person. All right. There's James, and we've got Hitch Up and Toe. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And we've got Naj. Alberta's waiting for me, and I don't want to keep her waiting too long. And there is Lance, boondocking with Boomer. Thank you for jumping in today. I'm really happy to see you. All right, and I think, Box Van D is here today. Thank you, Box Van D, for coming. I appreciate it. Could somebody please drop D's link too? I think every person in this chat right now knows D and is probably friends with D. But if you're not, please check out Dee's channel because she's a single female solo RVer who lives full time in her box van. And by the way, rocks living that way. You make me want to come and spend a summer in Quartzsite. Really, Dee? I think I could do it if I could hook up to an RV place like you're at, where I could have my Alberta. Okay, just 1 minute. I think you should be able to hear now, hopefully. Rob and Jan Can Van. Thank you for coming by. Much appreciated. All right, I think I've said hello to everybody who's here. Scott Jacobs, Catherine Cook, Scott Jacobs. Thank you all for coming today. All right, Charm Heart. So I don't want to keep you waiting. I screwed the front end of this up enough. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. We've got today with us, we have Alberta Hinksman, as is on the thumbnail. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from Alberta. So I'm going to add you to the screen, Alberta. Can you hear me now? Hi.
Yeah, I can, I can hear you now.
Thank you for waiting, and I apologize to everybody for the screw ups, but I woke up late, and I really was yesterday I went for a long walk, tried to do a live stream. I have done a video that I'm going to be putting together, but it really tired me out, and I just didn't want to wake up today. So here we are. I really wanted to get you on here. You've been a follower from clearly way back at the beginning of my channel, and I appreciate that so much. Even though it doesn't appear you're an RVer, it doesn't matter. I think I'm going to rename my channel Burning Up the Roads and Living Life, because it's about living, and burning up the roads is one of the elements of my life. And people like you who may not be are important. So let me hear from you about, tell us a little bit in your own words who you are and what brought you kind of into the community where I've met you at, which is the traveling community.
Well, I'm getting there in age. Been married 30 years this September. Have a service dog. I enjoy traveling. My husband and I have probably been doing 1 to 2 cruises a year for the last decade or so.
Nice.
I've been RVing as good and bad. One of my first foster home, we had an RV, and I remember camping on Pender Island on the beach in there. And then the failed adoptive home had a pull-along trailer, and that was just a nightmare life. So I want one myself, because both my husband and I are disabled in more than one way, but we both love traveling. And I'm trying to get him on board with what better way of traveling than taking a home with you. Yep. You don't have to worry about a hotel room. You don't have to worry about having a kitchen there or not. You don't have to worry about going into a restaurant. You can have everything where you need it. And I always wanted to travel North America.
Well, and you traveling with your home with you, you get to have exactly what you need. If you need special equipment to be with you, like I have my walker, there may come a day when I need the riding wheelchair, electric wheelchair.
If you do, go for a travel buggy.
A travel buggy.
It is a collapsible power wheelchair that weighs 50 pounds. It folds into pretty much any trunk. And it takes maybe 2 minutes to put it all together, and you're off.
I think, okay, so Richard has an aunt who is a small person, and she uses something that's just, you're describing what she puts it in her trunk, and she's able to pull it out and pull it up, and it's just boom, boom.
I'm 130 pounds sopping wet. My husband is probably 260, and we can both use it.
So that's called a travel buggy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually found it on Facebook. I had a travel scooter that came apart in 4 or 5 pieces before that, and that literally fell apart. We wore it out so much with our traveling on cruise ships and stuff. And then I came across a travel buggy on Facebook, and I needed a new one anyways. And thank God at the time my husband and I were both working, and we were able to afford the price tag with our medical, because thankfully his medical covered it.
That's, I mean, definitely. I have one right now, but it is definitely not 50 pounds. It's an older one, but it came to my family from my father via my nieces. My oldest sister has passed about 4 or 5 Julys ago, and so it was hers, and she had bought it. It is a hover round. I believe it's a hover
Yes,
round.
that's the type I had.
Okay, and
That's the
so
one I had.
that's what we have right now for when my dad used it for a while. He used it in the nursing home, and he loved it. He cruised. I used it because when I had my first knee replacement, I was in the nursing home he was in, and he loaned it to me because he was bedridden in that particular time. And I just scooted all around that place, and they're fun. They're nice to have, but I'll look at that travel buggy. It sounds much more user friendly.
Well, and having an RV too, with a lot of those little compartments underneath. With the travel buggy, you could just fold it in half and pop it in with no issue.
Well, and see, we're running into trouble because our RV is a 1991 Eldorado. It was not meant to live in, and it has one underneath compartment. So we're using the overhead the overhead bed, which we don't sleep in, as a storage compartment. That's where we're storing
Why
things.
not?
Yeah, I mean, that's right? Why not? So we do have some storage available. So you would like to travel. It sounds like you've done traveling, for gosh sakes, being able to go on cruises. That would be a wonderful thing. Richard doesn't like, he's afraid. He's asleep right now. He's afraid of the water. This bottom line, he doesn't want to be out on a boat. I'm not afraid. I would love to go on a cruise.
Well, if you really want to give him a taste of it without being really out in the open ocean, do a trip from either Seattle or Vancouver to Alaska. You go along mostly the Inside Passage. I've been this trip 5 times.
Oh.
So you never have to worry about rough seas.
Okay.
And if it is, it's very mild because it's being broken up by the dotted islands that go up along there.
Yeah.
So you're
See,
not
and that would
getting
be
the full
beautiful.
extent. It is a gorgeous trip.
And
Beautiful trip.
You're in BC, correct?
Yes. I've lived in Victoria since I was 9. I left for, I think, 16 months when I was pregnant when I got married to my first husband and was pregnant with my son. And then I moved back here before my son was a year. So I've basically been here for 40 years, 45 years, something like that. Because I moved here when I was 9.
It's definitely a beautiful place. It reminds me of the Pacific Northwest.
Well, we are in the Pacific Northwest.
It is considered, okay. I didn't know if it was considered PNW or not.
If you look on the map of BC's coast and Washington, you'll have Seattle, then you'll have BC. Like, we're basically neighbors, just with a border across it type thing.
Okay.
The entire part that's the Pacific Northwest is right up until you hit towards Alaska area.
Okay.
So that whole West Coast section of Seattle area, Vancouver, Victoria, the Gold Coast, or not the Gold Coast. Yeah. No, the Sunshine Coast. Gold Coast is Australia. The Sunshine Coast. They're all parts of the Northwest. The Pacific Northwest.
Cruising, I've ran into some people through cruising. I've been to a couple different cruising channels and that's where I've met some of the people. And I'll tell you what, right now there's a cruise. I just heard on one of the channels, there is a cruise that's starting out sometime soon. It's like a 9-month world cruise. From the starting package is about $60,000 a piece, and to a high of $200,000 a piece. So, and if, by the way, it was booked out in less than a half an hour.
Yeah, the 60,000, I guarantee, would be an inside cabin. Which
sure.
Has absolutely no windows. If you get an inside if you suffer headaches or migraines, always, always, always go for an inside cabin. Those
Really?
rooms, oh yeah. I've had a migraine hit so hard that it almost flattened me.
Wow.
Those rooms are, even in the middle of the day, no matter where you are, no matter how hot or sunny or anything, that room is going to be as pitch black as black can be.
Oh, I can imagine. Yes.
Which is what a lot of migraine sufferers need to help get rid of the migraine.
Mine is claustrophobia, so I would not probably do well in an inside room. They'd be wanting to drop me off.
My son's also claustrophobic, and he went on a trip with us with no issue.
Really?
Because
Okay.
well, the thing is, for one, you're on a cruise, 95% of the time, you're not going to be in your room. The only time you're going to be in your room is to get changed and to go to sleep.
Oh, sure, sure.
That's it. The rest of the time, you're out and about doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So my son had no issues with the inside room at all. And he with the masks, he's constantly having to pull masks off his face because he has the claustrophobic. Yes, I know. Down. I know. Let me know my heart rate's going up.
Okay.
But because you're not having to stay in there, the moment you start feeling that way, you can get out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot cheaper.
Of course.
A lot cheaper.
I've looked at some of them, and there've been a few times when we could have done, one of the lower, we could have done a cruise, but he's just definitely, at this point, he's not ready. I also thought of doing something like what you're talking about. And also there's ones down that go through, can't think of it, in the South. They come up through
the Panama Canal.
Yes.
I think the Panama Canal one is also a very nice cruise, from what my in-laws told me when they were still around. They've done that one a few times. There's also a 3-day one from Florida. It's a Disney cruise.
Oh, okay.
That's also one that you could try if you want to get your husband to at least try it, but it's not a hugely long trip.
Yeah.
A 3-day one would tell him if he would ever consider it. He would know right away if it would be for him or not just by trying that.
Right.
Because that's how we started. My brother and sister-in-law took us to Disney World one Christmas and then took us for that 3-day cruise. Mm-hmm. And we've been cruising ever since.
So those are things. That's one way to travel. You've already done some other kinds of travel. You mentioned a bumper pull was not fun. So I assume you had
the bumper pull. What I meant by it's not fun is that home was very, very traumatic for me.
Okay.
She spent every day for 2.5 years getting drunk and beating the shit out of me. The moment she woke up, that was her life's goal. And that's what I mean by it wasn't fun.
Okay.
The trailer part was a blast.
Oh, okay.
I love that part of it. It's just the fact that that's what I associate with RVing. Is I had the one really fun experience when I was 3 and 4 years old with my first foster home. Heck, I still remember my sister getting her big toe pinched on the beach by a crab.
Oh gosh.
That's how much I remember. That's how much I enjoyed that trip. And getting stung on the butt. Finding out she was allergic to bees that way because she sat on one.
Oh no.
She ended up with a red stripe from her butt cheek all the way up her back.
Oh my gosh. That's not a good
red skunk.
Oh gosh.
Thankfully, that was the worst and only time I know of her getting stung. But that's why I remember that trip. But I've always loved camping. The last time we were camping is in the summer of 1999. We did a 5-week tent trip through BC.
Okay.
With our son and my first whippet, Maxie. And we did that for 5 weeks. And that was the last time. And we both realized that we can't do the ground anymore.
Uh-huh.
Like getting up off the ground after sleep was next
Right.
to impossible.
Yeah.
So if we ever do camp again, it would have to be via RV.
Mhm.
Because to me, camping is not going and staying at a hotel. To me,
Right.
that's not camping. You gotta be out where you've got a campfire and you're cooking hot dogs over the fire with sticks.
Yep.
That's camping.
Yes, ma'am. That is camping.
And I've already told my husband more than once that if he goes before me, everything we own's being sold and I'm hitting the road.
So check this out. I'm following a woman. She travels by herself. She's married, been married for about 30, 40 years, been long-term marriage. He does not like it. He does not want to camp. She is camping in a minivan by herself. She's probably, I think, she's called, it's traveling grandma, I believe.
I know exactly who you're talking about because I watch her.
She kind of has auburnish red hair. Okay, so traveling grandma, I believe, or traveling granny.
I think it's traveling granny.
Yep, traveling granny then. Yeah. And so she travels and she is long travel, by the way. It's not just like overnight or a weekend, it's weeks. And and she is in a minivan. It's set up really nice. So if in her case she's able to manage everything on her own. Not everybody who wants to do that is someone who can manage everything by themselves. She, as a matter of fact, just did her first boondocking, dry camping, as far as being out in the forest, and she has come to think it's made that type of camping may not be for her.
Yeah, well, that's a much tougher kind of camping. When you're boondocking and you don't have the water availability at the drop of a hat or the electrical ability without sunlight and you run out, that can be very tough on some people.
And it's the aloneness, because it was
lonely. Yeah, that's a huge part for people. Myself, I prefer being by myself. I'm not... Mind you, I'm stuck in bed so much that I've gotten used to it. Because my husband has still had to work up until a couple of years ago. And my son never comes out of his room. He's only here until he goes off to get married. So I'm pretty much by myself most of the time outside of the dogs.
Well, the dogs, I just want to kind of switch over for a minute. So you have a certified, at least by Canadian standards, you have a...
she is a true full-fledged working service dog.
Right. Yeah. Now, is it the standard poodle? She
is actually what is called a second-generation golden doodle.
Oh, okay.
So her breeder has the first generation as well as the second generation. So it's standard poodle and golden retriever. Most of her dogs turn out to be service dogs of one form or another. Her nephew, I think from the following litter from her, it would be her half-brother. Or a brother, but from the following litter, there's a boy that's in our group that's actually from the same breeder as her, but just a year younger.
Right.
So it's best if you go to get a dog to work as a service dog. It's best to get them where they're normally going to be a working dog.
Okay.
Because if they don't have the drive to work or they don't enjoy it, they'll be what's called washed out. Like with Goshi here, my whippet. Okay, she's what happened?
I'm just showing a picture of her. Now, what is her name?
That is Stella.
Stella. She is a very sweet looking dog.
Yes, she's the one that was up on the bed. Sorry, my son's trying to give me something.
It's all right.
I'm sorry, my brain just went, just self exploded. The thought just went and
That was
twiddled off
probably
to
my
nowhere.
fault. That was probably
No,
my
it was
fault.
actually my son.
Okay,
Because
all right.
I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. There's this little red box going like this outside my door. Because his fiance's engagement ring broke.
Oh,
So a friend of mine who's in England makes jewelry. So I'm going to send it off to her, and she's going to remount the tanzanite for the ring so that she can wear it again.
well, that's really sweet. That's very
That's-
nice.
That's why, and that's what sort of took the thought of the dogs out of my brain. But with the service dogs, like with Goshi, Whippets are hunters. They're used or known as the poor man's racehorse.
Oh,
That's how this dog got their name, like how they got popular. Because in the 1700s and 1800s, when everyone was so broke and everything else, and even into the 1900s, when people were poor and they didn't have a lot, to entertain themselves, they would get these dogs and they would race these dogs against each other. And that was their entertainment. Golden retrievers and poodles are both working dogs. Goldens have been known to be hunters and retrievers. Poodles have also been known as hunters and even sometimes as stock control, like for cows and sheep and such. They've also been used for that. If you don't have a dog that has the drive to either for food or for toys or just to be with you at all times, you'll have a much higher rate of washouts.
Oh, okay.
Which a lot of people don't think of when they get a dog to be a service dog, especially with the owner trainer program. Like when you get a program dog, say you were to call up tomorrow and you put your name in for a program dog, say for the PTSD and medical alert, like I've got. Okay. And you pay out the 25 or 40 grand or whatever it is, but you're put on a list.
Right.
They find a dog, they train the dog, they hand the dog over.
Right.
The way I've done it is I contacted the breeder and put my name on a list for the dog. That's after I spoke to the trainer. Then the breeder contacted me and asked me if I would take a girl instead of a boy because I wanted the size for a boy because I need help to get off the ground sometimes. And they have to be at least a third of your final body weight when they're fully grown. So I was thinking a boy, but I got a girl. She has to have, because I'm in the owner trainer program, if I didn't find either she wasn't as attached to me as she became, thank God, and she didn't have the desire to be there and to get my approval on things. Like when I first started with her training, it was a lot of treat rewards, a lot of this sort of thing. Like, come, sit. Like she absolutely adores these. And they're just little dried up sardines. And I haven't had to take these out with me in several months, not just because of COVID, but because she has gotten to the point where she's not as driven by the food. She's more driven by, oh, good girl.
Okay, yeah.
But when you first start, you either have to have a reward of some sort, either verbal, play, toy, food, whatever. If they have that drive to get that from you, and they have that drive to do what they can to get it, then you've got a really good possibility of them being able to be trained.
She's really good size too. She's having her right there by you on the bed. I can see she's definitely a good sized girl.
She's 60 pounds. She fluctuates between 59 and 62. When when I was having my hair done the other day, when I had it colored, one
Mhm.
of the guys in the salon also has a service dog. His service dog is smaller than her head.
Oh God.
She's 3 freaking pounds. Okay? She is not able to do, like, and he needs her for the same sort of situations I do, for deep pressure therapy and such, like to lay across me
Uh-huh.
and to that sort of stuff where I need her physical weight on me at certain times. A 3-pound dog can't do that.
No.
Okay? Doesn't matter who you are. A 3-pound dog cannot do DPT. So, or deep pressure therapy.
Uh-huh.
Or
Right.
a 3-pound dog cannot give a person physical support to put her, like, when I need her, I can put a hand on her bum and a hand on her shoulders, tell her to brace,
Uh-huh.
and I can use her if I don't have like a table or a wall to help me push up. Okay? So when you go, like if you need a dog for mobility, like I do with her,
Uh-huh.
they have to be fully grown, a third of your personal body weight. I'm 130 pounds. She's 60. She's almost half my body weight. So she's perfect for me for that. But a teacup Chihuahua or a Pomeranian or any of those can actually be service dogs. It
Mhm.
just depends on what they're needed for.
Sure. I would always, in my mind, this is just my mind. I would think that like a teacup or just a smaller dog like that is generally an emotional support dog, which is as important
For the
as
most part,
important.
yes. But they
Um,
can also be trained to hear for you, like to go to phones or to the
uh,
door.
uh-huh.
Um, like the teacups, they can do medication reminders. They can let you know anything that you may need to know, but they are not able to do anything physical for you.
Uh-huh.
They couldn't pick up your keys for you or your wallet for you if you drop them, where a
Uh-huh.
dog her size could.
Sure. A forever best friend who's our local live-in dog specialist.
Yes,
She
the
says she's
smaller
saying here that
dogs.
for diabetics.
Oh, yes, they are. That's what I was trying to think, but my brain wasn't there. They are fantastic for diabetes. Or even, believe it or not, for seizure alerts. Not seizure response, but for
Uh-huh.
seizure alerts,
That
they'd
is
be
amazing.
perfect for.
So that whole thing amazes me, how there are dogs that are just, they have an intuition to start with. How anybody ever picked up on this, I don't know, that they could do these kind of things.
Well, I think it was more as they're finding out, like, because they've been using seeing eye dogs for so many years.
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of people that were blind that may have had other health issues started having their dogs respond to that too. So that may be where that started. I know that they say, at least it's the statistic that they put out there, that there are 15% of dogs that can naturally alert to seizures, heart rates, diabetes, anxiety, any of that. There are also ones that can be trained. Okay, like for somebody, like for a diabetic, say for Gosha, she's not a natural detector like Stella is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but if I wanted to train Gosha for somebody who is diabetic, what I would do is I would have them put a cotton ball in their mouth when their blood sugar was low, leave it in there for half an hour, put it in a baggie and freeze it right low.
Mm-hmm.
Do one when her blood sugar is normal. Also, put it in the freezer with a note on it. Also, when the blood sugar is high. And then when you find the dog you want to train, you use those to train a different alert for each. So for the low, maybe they'll hit your knee. For normal, they ignore you. For high, they may jump or lick. So you can train certain things, such like as for diabetes, or for even for some seizures, depending on what's the cause of the seizures. You can also train somewhat through the scent. Because we do give off a smell of some kind before and after a seizure. So you can, technically, it would take a lot more knowledge than I have, but I do know that they can train dogs to alert to that aren't natural alerters like Stella happens to be.
I think I had a poodle when I was about 13, and over a weekend I babysat these two little kids, and instead of getting money, she was a puppy out of a litter of poodles. And although that particular poodle, you couldn't train we tried to train her just to even not pee in the house, by the way. And Baby was her name, and she was a complete control of the home. Under threat of death, the dog still did what she was going to do. But my mother was a very severe diabetic and really did need, I didn't know, I was a kid. None of us knew about this kind of thing back in that time. And so it's good to know now that you can train a dog for pretty much anything.
Yeah, and you can even train your own pets, and people don't realize this. In the US and in Canada, if the dog is under 3, you can start the training. So if you got a pet, say husky or poodle or German shepherd or whatever breed you want, you got a 2-year-old and you suddenly develop some sort of medical issue, and you find out that a service dog could help, you could actually train your own dog to be your service dog. Because when it comes right down to it, they need to have manners in public.
Yes.
They need to be very obedient. And they also need to not sniff at everything, try to steal food off of every tray or plate that may be close by. They can't be wanting to go visit every Tom, Dick, and Harry around.
Right.
And if you can train that dog can be your service dog.
Patty, our dog, our beagle, we inherited her 2 years ago. She's about 21 years old, and she's definitely, yes. I mean, and if you watch her, she definitely does not seem like a 21-year-old dog. But we know for a fact how old she is because it's what I would call a shirt tail family member who Patty was his dog when he was little. They got him when he was a little boy, and he's a grown man now in his mid to late 20s, mid 20s, I think. So they know about, she was a puppy, he was certain age, blah, blah. So can do the math.
Kind of hard not to know the age.
It's hard not to know the age. So she is definitely emotional support animal for Richard because, he has depression. He doesn't hide it. He has depression, and he has a little bit of anxiety. And so Patty very much keys in on Richard. She did immediately. She was very connected to him right off.
She's a natural then. She's what they call a natural alerter.
Yes. And so when he's kind of in a down mood, she definitely has keyed in on him and goes to him and just gets attention from him. So he's kind of takes him out of that place he's in and brings him over to Patty. And he's now got that relationship with her where it works really well for him and her. So when we're out, we've never had a store. We've never had anybody question. And she is, as far as state, she has great manners. She's not, now she wants to sniff everything on earth. She's a beagle. And so every corner, every nook and cranny. But, I'm so grateful that we're able to take her pretty much anywhere we've ever been allows her to come with us, and also not leaving her in a vehicle at this point in time.
Yeah.
In the heat.
I refuse. Like, the only time I've ever left Stella in a vehicle is like when I've gone to the gas station for smokes or to just grab a snack. And I don't want to have to hook her up and take her. I'll leave her in the car for like a minute and a half. But that's the longest I'm ever without her. Like, she's with me 24/7 no matter where I go. And that's one bonus of having a service dog, but also one very annoying factor. You'll never pee alone again.
That's right.
Ever.
Ever. Yes, ma'am. That is true. And so when we were in Quartzsite, it was the winter time there, so it wasn't hot by most standards. And she could be in the RV when we ran in to get some groceries. We would have never left that dog in there. Okay, so there was someone I just saw, and I wrote their name down. I was watching their video, and they have I believe that it's Carolyn's RV Life. So I believe she's got a sensor, I think it is her, who's got a sensor in her RV where she can see what the temperature is. If she has to go in someplace, she can see what the temperature is. There's a video. She could see the dog on video. Yes, so you can, and it also alerts you when the temperature goes up. And it's a great tool. I don't know.
That should be in every vehicle. In my personal opinion, a sensor like that should be in every single new vehicle made, because of how many people who leave animals and children in a freaking hot car.
Yes. I was alerted to that yesterday. Richard and I stopped at we stopped at a store, and I was parked. It was actually, we took Patty to the vet yesterday, dropped her off, went to the park and did our thing, and came back, and it was PetSmart. I think it was PetSmart. And I was parked there. Richard went in to get her, I think is how it was. And I could hear a dog like crying, and I alerted him. I alerted because I am an animal person. I love I would have 1,000 dogs and cats if I could get away with it. It just is not so I was listening. As it turned out, it was just somebody putting their animal into the vehicle, and the animal was not happy. So, because I know people are leaving animals in their cars in hot climates and
record hot climates.
Record hot climates.
Less than 5 minutes could kill them.
Yeah. So you definitely are somebody who is a good example for people. At least you're so willing to share your story and your experiences. And hearing about how you have had the dogs and you've trained them. You've trained her yourself.
I've had a little help, like on certain areas because I haven't trained a dog in over 20 years. So it's taking getting some help, but for the most part, an owner trainer, you are the trainer of your dog. And it makes a difference, and people don't realize that an owner trained dog can still be just as good as a program dog.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes.
Because they're more bonded to the handler.
Well, and unfortunately, the cost is so extreme to have a service dog. You mentioned $40,000.
The cost itself, I think, is atrocious. I understand it to some degree, but when you've got to pay minimum 25 to 40 grand for a good quality, hardworking service dog, to me is sick, because I know just in the small group of people that I am friends with, and I mean small group of people that I'm friends with, I know at least half of them could benefit with a service dog. Not one of them can afford it.
There are
Not
programs.
a single solitary one of them. My husband came out of retirement to pay for her.
I know that was, so I wanted to say, oh my gosh, that was, that's committed love, you know. He goes back to work for 2 years.
Yeah, because he had been off. He was off. He had his heart surgery in 2013. He had one knee replacement in 2016. The second one replaced in 2017. He was off for a year and went back to work in 2018 to 2019, just specifically until Stella's payments were paid. Then he retired. The last payment that we paid to the trainer, he retired the next day, basically, because he had been off of work for over a year already by that time. And he wasn't planning on going back. So I am eternally and never enough ways to thank my husband for that.
Well, that is that's amazing in and of itself, because when somebody's retired, they're usually ready for that, and to come out of retirement, and it's sad to have to do that. I know there are programs here in the States, and there's, you know, obviously there's qualifications for it, but there is a waiting list years long. I know somebody who tried to get one.
I fluked on finding my trainer. I had contacted every service dog company I could find in North America. One of them responded to me out of all the messages I sent, and they said that they didn't do PTSD dogs for anybody but first responders and or military. Fine. So I had given up. And then I don't know, only by God's hand. That's the only way that I could have come across this, is my trainer and his company, who he had just opened. But he hadn't even been doing this for a year when I came across his information on Facebook. And to find out he is less than a 10-minute drive from my home to boot.
Yeah.
Only God could have put that information there when he did, because there's no way I would have been able to have Stella if it hadn't been for everything falling into place at the exact right time.
Right. It was meant to be.
Yeah. And service dogs should not be so hard to access.
No.
Because they can help so many people. All these people with depression, anxiety, mobility, hearing loss, vision loss, mobility loss, like even limbs, like where you can't move an arm that well. You can have a dog trained to replace that use of that arm if need be.
Right.
And it should not be this hard for people to get access and affordable access to this medical equipment.
Yes.
Yep. Because you can get a wheelchair, you can get a walker, you can get hearing aids, you can get a seat, like a cane. You can get all this extra equipment for your homes to help with other disabilities. Why is it that service dogs are not as easy to get as a wheelchair or a hearing aid?
Yeah. Well, you do have to have people qualified. So other than owner, you know, trainer, there does have to be qualified people who know how to train, want to train, and as a matter of fact, they've got to get paid for that, because that is a skill, and we need people to do that. They need to get paid well enough that they want to do it. That's just my own personal opinion, and it's just an opinion. But and additionally, insurances, like you're talking, it would be ideal if insurances did this on an easier basis. But I don't think actual insurance companies cover it. It is other programs.
And that's surprising. I mean, with, as well as doctors, though. More doctors should be willing to go I would much rather have a service dog next to me than have a doctor try to shove a handful of chemical pills down my throat to deal with
Sure.
my issues.
Yeah.
Okay, I have complex PTSD.
Mhm.
I have a crap ton of other medical issues with my body.
Uh-huh.
It should not be where anybody with even one of my issues can't go up to their doctor and say, look, do you think a service dog could help? And have a doctor look at you and say, what do they do? Like, that's basically what my doctor did at the time. When I asked for a prescription or a letter saying that a service dog could be of assistance to me, he was like, aren't they just for the blind? Like, he had no clue. But by the time he retired, I had completely changed his mind on what service dogs can do.
Right.
Because I've stopped using a cane. I was using a cane, even walking from my car to my front door. Now I just hold on to her harness, like or to her vest. If I'm feeling like I'm a little bit wobbly or I'm a little bit dizzy, I grab hold of her vest. She's better than any cane I ever came across, and a heck of a lot more fun.
Yes. It's that, that connection emotionally, the physical connection, the emotional connection. Absolutely. I'll tell you, doctors need to be more educated. And I don't know, there's two experiences that I've had personally with that. So Richard's doctor authorized Patty as a service dog. He gave Richard a letter.
Then you can get a vest and take her with you no matter where you go.
Actually, you don't even in the States.
You don't
here,
have to use a vest. I just say that way you have less issues.
Uh-huh.
Even if it's a collar that says service dog. That I got.
Right.
I'll show you. I got 2 of these actually.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's nice. I like that. I like that particular collar.
It's just a collar that is like a seat belt type of clip.
Uh-huh.
And it says service dog, and it's like a martingale. So it only goes so tight and doesn't go any tighter.
Yes, that's a kind I really do think is a good, for many dogs, especially bigger dogs, I think that is a good collar.
And then that way you don't need a vest. Right.
So my son took in his dog to his doctor just to introduce them. Czar is a big, healthy 105, 107-pound German Shepherd, and very docile, very calm. And the doctor asked Brent to remove the dog from the office, that he was afraid. Now this dog, he has never been a threat in any manner to anybody. But this doctor had an issue with the size of the dog. Now that's a doctor. And right down the road is Richard's doctor, who was, although Patty is a beagle. But the point is that one doctor seemed more educated than the other doctor.
And it could have also been the one doctor may have been attacked at some point of his life of a big dog.
That's true. That's very true.
So never know, but that's weird.
It was very interesting. Brent's like, he's just sitting here. And the doctor said, it doesn't matter. I don't feel safe, and so I want you to remove the dog. So,
wow.
Anyway, I'm glad that you have been able to get what you needed, and that the dog's working for you, and that you have that ability to train, be a trainer owner, and for it to be successful. That's the deal right there, is it's been a successful pairing, and you've gotten the support you needed from a professional trainer, so to speak.
Yes, I've been very blessed that way. That's one thing that if anybody wants or is looking to do an owner trainer service dog, find a local trainer that you like and trust. Get a note from your doctor. And if you either already don't have a dog you want to train, go find a dog that you click with.
Right.
That's the one issue as well that people don't realize. There's one girl that's from my group that got a program dog.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the dog's perfectly trained, does great with most anybody, but the person this dog was given to as their service dog is so timid and so calm. Like, she talks so softly that she'll tell this dog to sit. Like, she'll walk up and she'll go, sit. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't even know an ant that is going to listen to somebody that does a sit with that kind of vocalization.
Uh-huh.
But you need, the one thing is that when you get a program dog that is fully trained before they're handed over to the handler,
Uh-huh.
the only one issue with that is that they don't always bond with their handler as well.
Yeah.
If you can get in, if you go for a program dog, make sure that you get to spend some time with the dog as they're going through the training.
Right.
You don't want a 3-year-old dog handed to you and said, here, go on, bugger off. You're set.
Right. Hope it works.
Yeah. Good luck. Hope
Good
it
luck.
doesn't, hope you don't end up going and losing everything. But no matter what you do, whether you go program dog or owner trainer dog, there is still a 50-50 chance the dog's going to wash.
Wow.
And people don't seem to realize how easy it is for a dog to wash out of these programs.
Mm-hmm.
It takes one attack from another dog.
Oh, sure.
That can completely shatter that service dog's trust in anything else. So this dog, anytime it sees another dog, is going to lunge and start barking or cower and freak out.
Uh-huh.
It could be an accident the dog has. There's one of a zillion things. I mean, even with Stella, with the vet appointment where she had to have the throat opened up again.
Oh, wow.
That could have caused her to wash.
Right, right.
So there's a lot of different issues that can cause a service dog to be retired. They have mental issues just like we do.
Yeah.
They have phobias just like we do. They get hurt and medical issues just like we do. So, I mean, there was one dog in our program when I first started, they had the hypoplasia or whatever, where they're really wobbly and they can't stand and they can't, you know what I mean? Like where they got too much water on the brain or something.
Uh-huh.
Great little dog, worked fantastic for her owner. But her medical conditions became so much that she had to be put down before she completed the program.
Oh my gosh.
Because she could no longer eat or drink. She was shaking so bad.
Oh, that's sad.
So there's a lot of different issues that can wash or retire a dog that is being trained to be a service dog or is already a service dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a lot harder than people realize to get. I'm sorry, I'm starting to shake, so that's why she's been. But it's funny how quickly things can change in the dogs as well as the handlers.
Sure, sure.
So just make sure that you cover all your bases and make sure that if you are going out to be or to get a service dog,
mm-hmm.
or to get a dog to train to be a service dog, be aware that things can happen.
Sure.
That can make it unsafe for them to work
mm-hmm.
out in public or for you to even have them. So there's a lot of different things that can change.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, they're little beings, you know, they're a being too. And like you said, they can have a physical thing happen, a mental health thing happen, and it wouldn't work out in the long run. All right, well, I'm going to let you go, and you're having some things happen, so I'm going to let you.
Sorry, it's just
no,
for
please.
some reason my body is starting to shake a lot.
I'm grateful that you were willing to chat with us today. I hope that
you're putting up with me.
No putting up with you. I've been watching some of your videos. Please, somebody drop her link to her channel, because she does have some great videos on there, and I hope we eventually see you out on the road sometime.
I'd love to. If and when I get an RV, you better believe I'm coming down to say hi.
Please, because it's like straight down I-5. I still have to go over and see Victoria May Wallace eventually.
You're not that far from us.
I know, that's what I was thinking. I just go to Seattle and take a ferry.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you very much for being a supporter of our channel. And please, everybody, go check out her channel too.
And if anybody has suggestions, just put them in my messages. Any ideas that you want to hear or see.
All right. Well, thank you for that.
Thanks, Lucretia.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. That was really nice to be able to hear her story some, hear about her life as, someone who's done some traveling, would like to travel again, the whole having a service dog and things that I didn't know that I got to learn from that. It was nice to have. I'm going to take a moment here. I'm hoping that I still have some channel members, because I do have channel membership available, and I want to say thank you to those that are members. All right. Hold for a moment. All right. Add me back. All right. So that was a thank you to them. I appreciate everybody who hangs out with me in one form or another. Doesn't matter if you're a channel member or if you're someone who comes and just supports us. Everybody's welcome. All right. Everybody's welcome, wanted, needed, and appreciated. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. I'm working on a video. Yesterday, I went to the You Are Welcome, Alberta. Thank you. I really appreciate your sharing your information with us. I went to a park yesterday, tried to do a live stream. It was a really crappy connection, so didn't do it. It didn't work. And then, so I've got a video I'm going to work on, and I go to my doctor today for him to look at my scar and make sure that it's healed enough, and I will then be set for my next surgery. I suspect within the next 30 days, probably a week or two after Richard's surgery, I will have my final one. And then Richard is ready for the 5th. He cannot get, the 5th of August, can't get here quick enough. So that's what's going on in our lives with the channel. I've got someone who's going to be working to help finish our solar connection. The solar's on the roof, but Richard's thinking he is going to take the panels off. Yes, in his condition. He's waiting for this. My nephew is going to be helping him with the panels. Take the panels off that he put on in quartzite and do the sealing of the roof and put the panels back up. By the way, put the panels back up and put the connection through the roof so that it's all connected. We have the batteries, we have everything connected. That's the goal before surgery, because after surgery, we're looking at our next trip out would be it's gonna be probably February, considering the recovery. Richard's second surgery will not happen till the fall, and it's his neck. And so that's going to be a much more technical surgery, if you will, and it's really going to have good, solid recovery before. Hello, there's my little sister. I don't know if you've been here for the whole time or not. I know you're busy. just kind of wrapping it up, we had a great interview with Alberta Hinksman, who has a service dog. She's in British Columbia, just talking about that and a little bit about her travel. So I think that's where we're going to end it today. I've updated you on the channel, what's happening. As long as my scar's healed, I will get scheduled for my next surgery. My final one. Hope and pray. Please pray. It's the last back surgery I ever have to have. All right? This will be number 13, I think. It's really sad when you've had so many that you can't remember how many. So, everybody, Naj, hello to you. Thank you for coming by. Jill Weatherly, thank you so much for remembering butter. And I love this channel, and I really appreciate all of you. And I always hate saying goodbye, but I got to say goodbye. So you guys have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep Kaylee. By the way, could y'all say a prayer for Kaylee? She's just not feeling so well. Nothing drastic. She's just under the weather. So please just keep Kaylee in your prayers. And yeah, remember her because she gives so much to everybody. Every channel that I know of, pretty much Kaylee is on there moderating. So please remember Kaylee. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and know that we really do love you, and we really, really appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts.